Hello everyone. Summer's nearly here, the pandemic's over, and we can travel wherever we want. Wouldn't it be good if just one of those things were true? But let's stay optimistic. In the meantime, here's a review of my Terra Nova Laser Competition hiking and bikepacking tent.
Radio.co.uk. We'll close today at 5 p.m.
So this is my Terra Nova Laser Competition 2 tent. It's a very lightweight tent, about 1.4 kilograms, so really lightweight, and I use it for backpacking and cycle touring. There you can see here the pack size is about 55 centimeters. It can get smaller than that if you pack it down properly. So let's have a closer look. So the first thing you might want to know, it did or used to come with these almost useless tent pegs. I don't really know what they were thinking. They're titanium, but I wouldn't depend on these, and I would get some other tent pegs immediately. I would add, if you're going to produce a premium tent, this is about £400, you might as well include a decent set of tent pegs. Now this is it's a single pole tent, and these are DAC poles, titanium, very high quality. So these should ride out some really serious weather. These are the tent is rated to 3-season rating in the UK, so it could stand up to a real battering. So the tent pole fits into this sheath, which runs up the middle of the tent. And you can see here I'm just feeding this through the thread or the sheath. But here's a problem. You can see there's this external sheath, and what it does, it makes it more fiddly than it should be. The sheath really provides some extra waterproofing, but it really makes the tent fiddly. And imagine if you were pitching this in high winds, torrential rain, you really don't want a tent to be fiddly. You want it easy to put up. So it counts against the tent, in my opinion. So as with most single hoop tents, it's not freestanding. You peg out one end, and then you can walk around to the other end, and in theory it should just pull up and stand up. Very simple. But what you can see here is the second problem I have with this tent, even though I like it a lot, is that there's a mass of string here. And this is really to do with an overcomplicated venting system which enables you to lift the fly chute up without leaving the tent. But the reality is, again, it's fiddly, and you don't want that in bad weather. It can be a real bind if you're doing this day after day. So I've just pegged out the other side, so there you have it. The tent is now standing. and there are two other pitching points here, so you can just pin out the corners here. So there's only one pole at each end, and the other two pitching points are pegged out. It's just the material that pegs directly into the ground. So what this means, it can get a bit flappy, this tent, in high winds. So here's just an external view, but I do like the look of this tent when it's pitched up. It looks like it does mean business. What I would say is at each end you only get a 50 centimeter headroom, so the tent is in your face. So really, I would argue that this tent might not be for everyone. If you like hanging out in your tent, or you're caught for a couple of days, this could get claustrophobic pretty quickly. What you can also see is, oh, there's just the label there, so that's Terra Nova. So it is a premium tent, and overall the quality of materials are excellent. The fly is 3000 hydrostatic head, I think. And here you can see this extra sheath that provides extra water repellency. It's really a distraction here, but it is needed, and you need to put it up in heavy rain. And it adds to the put up and put down time. And there was an attachment point there, but even the attachment point is flawed because it's on the material that's not attached directly to the tent. So it's a weak spot. So one advantage of this tent is the laser competition too, is that it does have two doors. So that's important because if you store equipment in one side, you can clamber out the other side. So that's a bonus for this tent. And let's have a closer look inside. So I do like the cover, even on grim days. It looks pretty light, and you feel cheery when you wake up. At the end there you can see a flap, which is a vent. You can pull that down, and you can see that pulley there, which opens up the fly from the inside, which when it works is okay. There's not much storage space there. You can get a few panniers in, and you could cook in the vestibule if you're careful. This end has got the vent down, and that's just me crouching, and then to give it a bit of a sense of scale, so you can sit up in the middle, but at the end when you're lying down, it's in your face, this tent. And it is a good looking tent. I mean, despite its flaws, I still have it, but I have to admit it's not the tent of my choice anymore. So while I'm taking this tent down, I'll give you a few more thoughts here. So I originally bought this tent because I was really fortunate. I had the chance to do some backpacking in Nepal, and I wanted to do some wild camping with my partner while we were there, and I also wanted to use it for lightweight backpacking. And this is the scenario that it would work in if you're really sort of really bothered about weight. This tent is amazingly light, at about 1.4 kilograms, and you can reduce it even further than that if you leave some of the pegs and take the central waterproof sheath off. So it is incredibly light, but it's at a cost, and I would suggest that if you like being in your tent for long periods, or if you get hit by really bad weather, it's so claustrophobic that you wouldn't want to be in there for long, and it's really for that reason that I've moved away from using this tent. The other reason is it's just, even though the quality of the materials is good, it's just too fiddly. It's more fiddly than it needs to be. And if you were, for any of those of you with experienced hikers or cyclists, if you get caught out in bad weather, the last thing you want is to be fiddling around. Here, for example, the temperature's -1. It's not that cold, but already I can feel my fingers going a bit numb. And if you were, had to get this up quickly, it could be a pain if you have to untangle tangled knots and tangled rope. I think the more recent versions of this tent may have got improved that design, so that some of that system or the venting system's easier. I would also add that this is a huge following, this tent, in the lightweight community, and I do get that with a bit of practice you can pitch it very quickly, very well. But so I am comparing this to similar tents such as the Scarp one, which I think in comparison is a much easier tent to deal with, put up and take down. So overall, this is a tent that I really wanted to love. It's got a lot going for it, but for me the compromises were just a bit too much. So I as I've said, I have moved away for this, and my tent of choice for lone bikepacking is my Scarp one tarp tent. I've done a review of that in another one of my videos. So if I had to give this an overall grade, I would give this a grade B, a low grade B, even bordering on a C. But it still works well in the right conditions. I know it's got a big fan base. I've put some specs at the end of this video, but thanks again for watching, and do watch out for the next BikEnomic video and consider pressing the subscribe button, and see you soon.